Hello, and welcome to your members-only stream brought to you by Fantasy Football Scout. As always, you are joined by me, Andy, FPL Mode, and we are also joined by somebody who seems to be getting awfully close to my overall rank. Mark, how's it going, Mark?
I'm closing the gap, aren't I? What is the gap? I haven't even looked at your team to see what the gap was.
So there's only 600k between us now.
Right, yeah, but how many points? All I care about is catching now, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know how many points, actually, to be perfectly honest. It takes so long to scroll down to you. I don't usually check your
very
points.
good. You're on 1639 and I'm on 1577, so it's still quite a big gap. 92. I'm not going to get 92 back, am I? So, but at least it's below 100.
I mean, I remember us talking not that long ago, and you were saying, what's a good target for me? And I was saying, if you manage to get top 250k, I think you've done well. I think you're going to get there. I think you're going to be absolutely fine.
I'll be gutted if I don't get 250k. Now I'm ahead of schedule, aren't I? Really, I've still got chips to play, and there's still plenty of doubles to come. So I'd like to think I can keep the climb going, but I mean, this week could be humbling, couldn't it? We'll see. More doubles, we'll see. Could go either way. Could go in favour of the wildcard 26 instead of massively and cruelly against it like it did. Oh, dear me.
What a lovely little shoehorn into what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah.
So we're going to mention that tonight. So we're going to talk about it. I know we spoke about it on Scoutcast. You spoke about it on Black Box. But we're going to talk about it because sometimes, we bring up different things to what other people do as well. So we're going to talk about Wildcard 26 and the reactions to it, because I think that's important too. Then we're going to look at the doubles and we're going to look at our teams as well. I know we're going to briefly talk about our chip strategies, but we probably both talked about it before in other streams, but it'd be good because we've missed each other for the last couple of weeks, or I've missed you anyway.
Yeah, I've missed you, Andy, especially in the week. I definitely missed you those weeks. So.
Oh, yeah, I know. You had anyway. So we're going to talk about that, and then we'll have some Q&A at the end. We've only got about 20 people in the stream, which is brilliant because it means you're most likely going to have your questions answered. And obviously, this is our time for you because this is our members only stream. So make sure you get your questions in at the end. So, Mark, start us off then. You just mentioned it then. Biggest thing, and obviously this is now Friday. Obviously, Sunday night and Monday was when the big drama happened because Man United got absolutely pummeled by Liverpool, and a lot of those people that wildcarded obviously got rid of their Liverpool assets. Without me saying anything, obviously I wildcarded, you didn't wildcard. What was your view on it in hindsight? So in hindsight, how was it? Because there was a lot of divisiveness, I would say, on Twitter and in anywhere that did fantasy football.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this always happens when there's an extreme outcome, isn't there? There's always like a lot of anger and frustration, of course, and I get it. So I think you've got to be careful how you react to it. I think I said on Black Box, I was a bit down on Black Box. I don't know if you saw it, but I was like really kind of down because I've been doing well since the restart, and I had big plans for the chips and big plans for the doubles, and then this strategy came along that looked so good. It looked so kind of spot on because of the way it kind of got you a good looking team for 26, set you up for 27 in particular with doubles. It meant that you didn't have to take too many hits, if at all, for 28. You wouldn't have to free hit in 28, and then you could bench boost in 29. And it looked so good, and I was really on the brink. The problem, the frustration for me was I'd set my team up so I could get through this period, but perhaps without even playing a chip at all.
Yeah,
I'd have to take some hits, but probably like a -8 or something like that, and I would have been all right for 29. And then the idea was that maybe I bench boost in 29, but maybe it's 34. And then when the 34 double shrunk, it was like, well, I'm going to have to bench boost in 29. And it kind of, because of the bench boost, it really did set it up to play the wild card either in 26 or certainly 27, because the nearer you play the wild card to the bench boost, the better. So I was kind of against it because I'd kind of got into the mindset of not playing the chip, and I'd obviously taken hits like a lot of people in 25. I'd got 2 Liverpool, and I got Brennan Johnson in free transfers with the 2 free that I had. So I'd taken a -4. So it didn't feel great getting rid of players that I'd taken a hit for, particularly Brennan, because I was going to the Everton game and I really fancied him against Everton. So I didn't really want to play the wild card and get rid of him. So I said in Black Box that if the team news went my way, if I thought Aki would start and Estupiñán was fit, I probably wouldn't play it. And the other reason, as well as the, having an 11 and having Brennan, I did fancy Liverpool to score goals. I think I predicted a 2-2. So I was happy. I was happier than most to hold them. There was a lot of people going around saying, well, the wild card is lovely because one of the reasons is you can get rid of your free Liverpool. And I was like, I'm okay with Liverpool. I'm not like, I didn't think they'd all get loads of points, but I thought there would be something in it maybe for Salah. I thought they'd score a couple of goals, so I thought he'd get a return, and I thought Trent might get, you never know, might get an assist, but it hasn't been happening for him. So I was okay with keeping them. Certainly wasn't like, oh no, Liverpool are going to thrash United. No way. I didn't think that. But it was Brennan really. And the other thing that would convince me not to play it was last season, if you remember, that wild card strategy that kind of broke on the eve of deadline, and lots of content creators jumped on it. And I watched a few videos Saturday morning, Slippers, Andy, in particular, who convinced me that it was the right thing to do. And up until then, I was like, no, I'm not going to play the wild card. And then saw some content that made me think that's a great plan, and that's going to work. And it was another one of the plans where you play the wild card, and you have to have few things drop for you. And if they did, should have done, then you look great. But of course, as we know, when there's game weeks in between, like playing the wild card and the end goal of the wild card, whether it be 3 or 4 game weeks, things can go wrong in that spell. So last season when I did it, I said I'd never do that again because it didn't work out for me because lots of people didn't do that. And then 3 hit Salah when he got the hat-trick. I can't remember who it was against. Was it Leeds? He got a hat-trick and it absolutely smashed my rank. So after that last season, I said I'd never play another strategy where it was like play a wild card and then 3 game weeks later, that's when you see the full benefit. So that also fed my decision. So in the end, all those little things combined, and I went, no. The other thing was Friday, I was doing a work thing, which is why I couldn't do the video. And so I didn't get online at all. I didn't do any tweeting, didn't look at Twitter. And I think I said on Black Box this week, had I had more time on Friday and I'd been browsing Twitter during the day, that might have convinced me to play it. But because I'd avoided the Twitter bubble, it protected me. And it meant Saturday morning, I was like, no, stick to the plan, don't play it. So I was very, very fortunate because it was a combination of things. And obviously the result was just crazy, absolutely crazy.
Do you know what, as well, on Saturday, I felt quite good because I'd obviously wildcarded 3 Brighton in. I didn't have any Brighton before that. I had Matoma and I had a Estupinan. So I got basically 20 points from my Brighton lads because I benched March. If I would have gone for McAllister, I mean, I was toying, I was talking to Seb beforehand, we were talking about benching Rashford and playing another Brighton mid. And that's like, you'd be getting...
Would have worked.
But I fancied Rashford against Liverpool, so I wanted to play him. But that would have been 35 points up. I mean, 35 points. Obviously, your other players would have got points. But, I had players like Andreas Pereira, who got 8 points. But anyway, and I was looking at it. And for me, game week 28, I had double Liverpool, I had Fulham. And I think a lot of people that are now playing their wild card have got a lot quieter as the week's gone on because they're realising how hard a decision it is about keeping these Liverpool players. And this is exactly it. Like you look at, as this week, selling Haaland. Haaland's got Crystal Palace and he's selling in for Tony because he's got a double game week. These are the tricky decisions we had to make on wildcard. And we said, right, we're just going to go without Liverpool. And obviously, we had that Bournemouth fixture. That's the one we were worried about.
Yeah, I said that. I said on Black Box that I was worried to get rid of Liverpool players because I thought that at any moment, it was funny, I said at any moment they could flick the switch and suddenly go in overdrive.
Yeah.
I mentioned the time that they went to Selhurst Park and put, I don't know how many goals they scored, but Salah got a hat-trick in the game off the... I think they scored 6 or something. And they looked really awful till that point. And I was saying that could happen at Bournemouth. They could go to Bournemouth and win 5 or 6-0. I didn't for 1 minute think it would happen against United. No way.
And there's no way to plan for that. Like I was not looking, United have been really good this season, really good defensively as well. There was no, even at half time, there wasn't any idea that was going to happen. And obviously United just capitulated. And it does happen every now and again, doesn't it, in terms of teams do that. Southampton have done it a few times, haven't they? Obviously United have done it. And there are only a few teams that can do that in this league as well. Like Liverpool and City seem to be 2 of the only teams that can do it. But it was an interesting outcome. Obviously, I finished with a green arrow anyway, so I was fairly happy with the green arrow. But it's just how it happened. And now, obviously, I'm looking at it and thinking, I don't have any Liverpool this week, but my team's looking absolutely fine. My team's looking good for 28. My team's looking good for 29 at the moment. But it's the other little things that happen after people wildcard, like Sanchez getting dropped.
Oh, see, that was the thing. When that happened, I was like, oh, well, there you go. That's one of the things that I was worried. No, I wasn't worried about that thing, but you know, when I say about wildcarding in 26 in order to benefit from a bench boost in 29, because of the gap and the international break as well, things like the Sanchez thing could happen, right? Yeah. And it happened straight away, didn't it? In the first game, I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it, because 100% my wildcard that I built that on Thursday night after Black Box, Sanchez in goal, 100% Sanchez.
See, it's funny.
I was like, oh my God, I got away with that straight away.
Well, I got away with it because I was on Sanchez and Raya for a bit and thinking about bench boosting 27, but I really wanted a Stupinan. And because I really wanted him, I then didn't go with Sanchez. And I was like, right, I'll just go with 10 in the blank. I want a Stupinan because his upside's way higher than Sanchez. I just thought I'm just going to go with him. And I was talking to Baker. We did a stream on Above Average after the members stream last week. And I was just saying as well, I don't really like Sanchez as a keeper. I'm not a massive fan of his. Like, he drops a clanger every now and again. And I was like, I just like the upside of a Stupinan. And obviously, you know, he then gets benched and Steele comes in. I'm just glad I don't have to make that decision of whether to go to Steele or whether to go to someone else. Like, it's obviously nice not to have that decision. But the people that do have to make it, I mean, yeah, it's not great, is it?
What do you make of the Steele situation? Because I'm thinking I'm probably going to do it. There's two reasons. If I go to Raya, I can only get March.
Yeah.
I really want McAllister, so I'm probably going to go to Steele and gamble that he holds his place.
When people have asked me this week, I've said I'd go to Steele. For all the tweets that I've seen, all the quotes that I've seen from De Zerbi make it sound like Steele's his keeper for now, if that makes sense. I was a little bit worried at the beginning, thinking it was a bit of a kick up the arse thing for Sanchez. But with his comments he's been coming out with, it basically sounds like he's the keeper that fits his system more. Do
you understand why? Do you understand
I don't
the advantage he's bringing? No, I don't.
Because he's also saying that Sanchez can learn those skills. Like, you know, he can learn those skills and then he'll come back in. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think
because he's good. Is his distribution?
He's good on the ball. His distribution's good because that's why Spain almost played him, wasn't it? Because his distribution was better than the Spanish keeper. I can't remember now. Simon. But yeah, I don't really get it. But I think if I was bench boosting in 27, I'd be going Steele. But I think if I was bench boosting in 29, I'd probably go with someone like Kepa, Raya. You know.
Well, I've got Kepa. So I will have a double game week keeper anyway. But obviously, if I go Steele, I'll have my bench boost double game week keeper.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a risk because I've got to get through to there. But if I don't, I've got to take another -4. So and plus it's 0.8 difference between in price, which I know at this stage in the season you think my money doesn't matter, but it probably will. It probably will when I come to when I come to free hit or wild card, and I want a free hit next week. So, you know, that money with the free hit will come in handy because it means I might be able to stretch to a player that I wouldn't have been able to get. So I think I'm going to gamble. It's against my better instinct, but the -4, the extra money, and the fact you're right, De Zerbi hasn't really given indication that Sanchez is going to come back in anytime soon. So I think I'll risk it.
Yeah, I think I would. I think if I had Sanchez, I'd do it. Even just for short-term gain. Even if you do it, like, you're not that far away from Ward if you really need to go to somebody in the bench boost in 29. So I think that's the way I would go personally. And the fixtures are nice as well. Talking about Brighton then. Obviously, Brighton, Brentford, Crystal Palace and Southampton have the double this week. I had to really think who that was then. Southampton and Crystal Palace, there's not many that people are picking from. Maybe a Ward-Prowse pick there that a few people have had. Very unlucky. I know Flapjack had Ward-Prowse last week and he obviously
I watched the scout cast and he took the pen.
God. Genuinely, like, you know, every now and again you're mates with people and you talk to them all the time and you laugh it off, don't you, and it's banter. Every now and again, you just think, I genuinely feel bad for you.
Like, well, Krellin had, shouldn't call him Krellin like I'm some kind of high school teacher. Krellin! Ben Krellin had Ward-Prowse as well. So my first thought was him because he's been doing so well. Yeah. And he Yeah, poor Ben, because he was on the Green Arrow, and he was one of the factors behind a lot of people playing the wild card was the work that he does on all predictions of the blanks and the double game week. So I always feel for him when things go wrong, because I hope to God that he doesn't get DMs of people blaming him. I'm sure he does. If he does, then don't do that, because Ben's a hero. But I did think of him when Ward Prowse Mr. Penn, and I didn't know Flappy had played him as well. And then when I saw the scout cards, I was like, oh, no. I know. Because it's such a brave call as well, so it deserves reward, not that.
100%. I've never owned Ward Prowse at the right time. But if we look at Brentford and Brighton, then people are wildcarding, people are bringing players in. Who would you say are your priorities? So if we mould them together and don't think about Brighton separately and Brentford separately, who are your priorities out of those two teams to bring in this week?
It's Tony's the obvious from Brentford. Gotta be. I don't think anybody else is absolutely essential from Brentford. Rico Henry's obviously quite attractive in the fixtures are Everton away, Southampton away, and then Raya, of course, for the same reasons. But I don't think it's essential to have one or more of their defenders necessarily. It'd be nice to have. I don't want to put it this way. I'm not going to take a hit to get Rico Henry to bench Trent Alexander-Arnold at Bournemouth, because I just think, well, basically Henry's got to get a clean sheet then, and Trent could go and get a double figure at Bournemouth quite easily. So it's just not worth it to me, because that's the thing about game week 27 is that the benches look good. So although I'm only probably going to have 4 double game weekers, if I had 6, I'd be giving myself a real headache. I'd have to bench, I'd have to sell players like Odegaard and Trent to make way, and I don't really want to do that. So I think Tony from Brentford, and then Brighton, I've got a Stupinian already, and I'll be playing him. I'll be doubling on the defence, which isn't great, but Leeds and Palace, I mean, the Brighton defence is strong, statistically very strong. So Leeds and Palace, I don't know if they keep clean sheets in one or both, but I don't mind. I'd rather have 2 Brighton attackers for sure. Yeah. But the difficulty then is who do you have? Because the 3 of them, and this has been raging all week, Matoma and McAllister. I'm going to McAllister because of the data. The data's just so strong over the last 6 that I think I would kick myself if I didn't go McAllister and he came in. Plus he's on pens. Plus he's a big differential, and I've got to hope that the luck is going to stay with me and it comes in again, and McAllister's the one that comes in. But so I'm going to take the punt and go McAllister. Yeah, it's interesting. But the stats for Solly March are ridiculous as well. Like he's blowing the other 2 out of the water, but there is that little bit of a niggle with him at the moment. It does sound like he'd be absolutely fine, but it is there a little bit. Hard pitch as well, is it? I mean, like that's the thing. It's going to be an icy, rock hard pitch at Leeds. I mean, they've got undersoil, so it shouldn't be that bad, but it's a consideration. It's going to be really cold. It's going to be a harder pitch than normal. Maybe he doesn't play one of the games. So Matoma, for me, the order is McAllister, March, Matoma. Then the March injury comes in. I know Matoma was so. I love
Matoma. He's top for me.
I don't understand how this has happened, but I did go back and watch some of the games, the Brighton games, and there's no doubt about his end product. He's got the better finisher. And when given chances, he's of the 3, he's the one who takes them. But the volume of chances come in the way of March and McAllister, and also they are bigger creators than Matoma too, in terms of the data. And the thing is, McAllister's got pens, so I'm not going to have Matoma. I mean, the other thing is, like, everyone's got Matoma. I mean, everyone who went early got Matoma, didn't they? Yeah. So I think
he's such a baller, though. Like, it's sometimes you own players and you just love watching them playing because you own them as well. And I know that's a rubbish reason to own a player, but sometimes you just have to. And I think for me, it's Tony and Matoma that are at the top. And I do think Estupiñán is like. The thing with Estupiñán this week is it's lovely because he's going to get the both games. Obviously, in game week 29, there's that little bit of a thing because he's flying to Australia and back again because of international. So that's not amazing, but I just feel like the upside's there with him. His heat map is ridiculous. He's like a left winger, isn't he? So I really like him. I just think, I mean, how big would you be going on this? Because we spoke about this on Scoutcast, and there was a little bit of deviation here in terms of, I said I'd be focusing on making sure you bring in a Brentford player in terms of Tony, because they play in the blank and then they have they have the double again. I think I'd be going that. Sorry, not a double again. They play in the blank, so I probably prioritise Tony because he's also my preferred captain choice. Would you be prioritising one of the Brighton mids, or would you be prioritising Tony out of them?
It depends on your chip strategy. Brentford do double in 29 as well.
They do double, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
of course
so,
they do, because I'm bench boosted. Yes, of course they do.
So if you are not free hitting in 28, then taking a hit for a Brentford player is probably a good idea because it's getting you an extra in 28. I am going to free hit, so I can afford to go big on Brighton because I don't need to have Brentford players in for 28. And by going big on Brighton, I'm getting 29, and I'm probably getting another double in either 31 or 32 as well, because I think they have to play the Newcastle fixture, and according to Ben, that's more likely in 32. I think he's saying is the one.
Yeah, rather than 30.
So going free Brighton makes sense because I don't need to worry about 28. If I had to try and get 11 out for 28, I'd be favouring Brentford. So really, it depends on where you sit there. If you've wildcarded, you've probably got 5 already, or if not 6 like you. So it's not a problem. But it's just whether you've got to ask yourself whether you're going to free hit in 28. The reason I'm going to free hit in 28 is because I'm hoping that when 28 rolls round, and I know it doesn't seem a long way away, but so much can change. There are 1 or 2 little differentials in there that mean I can go against what the template is. Because I know that most people will have free Brentford. Most people who wildcarded will have free Brentford. So I'm only going to get Tony. Most people who wildcarded will have at least probably 2 Newcastle defenders. Yeah. So I'm probably going to stick with Johnson and hope Forest score. And there's a good chance. I think we will score because we've scored in every home game apart from 1. It's Forest Newcastle. So,
of course it is. Yes.
So you've got Botman and Trippier, which looks good on paper, but they are at the City Ground where we've only failed to score once. Mm-hmm. So I do think we'll score. So I probably won't have Trippier at all. Yeah. So I'm going to go completely against the template in 28 with the free hit, which could massively backfire, but it could also go the other way. So I'm okay prioritising Brentford because of the free hit. If I wasn't free hitting, I would take a hit for Brentford player. Yeah. I think because it's worth it because you get the 2 points back this week, and you should get another 2 points back in 29, of course. Plus you get the 28.
And it's worth looking. I mean, I've already mentioned it before now about wildcarders that are wildcarding this week are realising how tricky it is to build a squad because of the blank and because of the players you want after the blank as well. Mm. If you do go with 2 Brighton mids and you've got Saka, because most people will, and you've got Rashford because they've got Southampton at home, and you go with Salah because they got Bournemouth at home, you've got 1 midfielder for game week 28.
Right.
And what you're going to do then, because you're not going to get rid of the Brighton mids, you're not going to get rid of Rashford, most probably. You're not going to be getting rid of Saka because he plays in the blank. And what you're going to do, get rid of Salah straight away the next day. And if you do, does that mean you then don't go Haaland because you've got Haaland and Salah that you can't get rid of?
Yeah, I hadn't realised.
It's really tricky, the wild card, this one.
Yeah, it is. I think that, if Salah does well at Bournemouth, even though he's got City and Chelsea away, if Liverpool are back to something like their pomp, and Salah's confident, I still think he might get a return or 2 in those 2 games because he can score at Chelsea and he can score at City. I mean, City and Chelsea defensively aren't, resilient this season. They have given away City goals. So a fire in Liverpool and a confident Salah could do anything in that double. So you're not necessarily going to want to get rid of him, are you? So I'm definitely taking him into 29. I mean, I think that I've got to hope that he continues to be a differential for me because, he's obviously a good player. So,
what I mean, speaking of good players, what about Haaland then? We've got your mate Az from Black Box. Obviously, he's getting rid of Haaland for Tony. He's got Crystal Palace away. Last time we played Crystal Palace, he absolutely demolished them. Yeah. I completely get it. I'm going to be getting rid of Haaland next week. I'm going to be getting rid of him. Haaland to Watkins, and then I'll be keeping Watkins for the double, and then getting Haaland back in 30.
You're going to you're just going to use free transfers in 30.
Yeah. So I'm rolling this week. I'll use 1 transfer in 28 and then 2 in 29. Right. But I'll be getting rid of him. But I feel like that's a week early. That feels so dangerous to me. Like Haaland is. if you look at like forward lines, Tony, Haaland, Kane is the template at the moment, isn't it? All on pens, all with nice fixtures. Tony's got the double. Haaland against Palace. Just, I would find it hard to go without him, but I feel like you have to if you're going with Salah.
I guess the hope is with Leipzig on Tuesday, and that's on all, that the damage will be limited by the fact that, okay, if he does go mad and get a couple of goals in the first half, he'll be off after an hour.
Yeah.
He probably would be, right? So if City have got the game won, if it's 3-0 with an hour to go, he's probably off, I would have thought. Yeah. So I don't think the chances of him absolutely running riot are probably low, but I think he'll probably get something. He'll probably get a return, I imagine, in the game, because you back him for a return in any game, don't you? But I think people will get away with it because Tony. I think you've got to have Tony. I think with the 2 games, you've got to captain him. I don't know if Brentford will keep clean sheets at Everton and Southampton because you've got to think Everton and Southampton in home games have got to look at them and think we've got to win those home games. Right? It's like Forest, and although they're not good sides at home, with the situation that both those teams are in, I think they will score both Southampton. So, but I think because of that, they will give up space to Tony, and Brentford could catch them. And then, I still think Brentford could win both games.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we saw it the other night against Fulham. Brentford, Tony, I know he almost scored from the halfway line, whatever it was, but had his pen, got his 8 points, 2 bonus. Yeah. Lovely, isn't it? That's all he needs. Needs to do that twice.
Horribly efficient, isn't he? If you don't have it, it's like,
Yeah, exactly. Because he's getting a chance or 2 every game. Right, should we have a look at our teams? So, this is my team going into the week. So I got Raya in goal with a double. I've got Rico Henry. So close to going Pinnock when he scored. He scored live on Scoutcast, and I kept shaking my head because I put it into Flappy's head going Pinnock as well. Stupinan with the double. Trippier with the double. Trippier with Wolves at home, which is quite nice. March with a double. Saka. Mitoma with a double. Rashford. Kane, Forest at home is lovely. Haaland, Crystal Palace away. And then Tony, captain with the double as well. It does mean that my bench is Kepa, who's fine, but then Odegaard, Botman and Zinchenko on the bench. Personally, I've seen so many people saying it's so dangerous benching Arsenal assets this week. I know Fulham are without Palhinha, but at home, they're really not awful. They don't concede an awful lot at home. And when they do concede, they don't concede a lot of goals. I think once this year they've been really hurt at home, and that was against Newcastle when they lost 4-1. Apart from that, they haven't really been rolled over at home. So I expect that to be a really tough game for Arsenal. I've got Saka still in my team because he's on pens and obviously he's got a game next week. But I don't feel that bad benching those players in this fixture, if I'm perfectly honest. So Botman could get a point. Botman could get a clean sheet, but it'd be 6 points maximum. So I don't think there's a lot I can do with this team. Roll in and then obviously using a transfer.
You've got no choice. You've got no choice. I think you've got exactly the right 11 there.
Yeah.
I obviously Odegaard is one of those players I'm looking to be an advantage for me and bridge the gap because I won't have 4 doublers. I won't have more than 4 doublers. I kind of agree, but it's just Paulina missing. And Fulham, I think Fulham are, if you're going to profile them, are they going up? Are they going down in terms of form and confidence? I think they are going down.
They are going down, yeah.
I think there's a bit of the Bournemouth about them in that they know they're safe. Okay, Europa League, are they playing for that? I'm sceptical, to be honest, about... I mean, everyone will go, of course they want Europe. If I was a Fulham fan, I'd be like, you know what? I'll take 8th place and not Europa League. But I guess financially they want it. But I do think they seem to be on a bit of not a massive dip, but they're on the decline, aren't they? I would say. And Paulina's a massive miss. So I think Arsenal will get a couple of goals. So Odegaard could get something. But I don't think you've got any choice. And I think you've got exactly the right 11 out there. And you want to hold Odegaard, don't you, for 28 and for 29. So
yeah. He'll be going in 20. Yeah, I was going to say he'll be going in 29.
You're going to go Bruno?
It'll be Maddison or Bruno, I would have thought, yeah. And Zinchenko will be going as well, 29, I would have thought, for sure. But yeah, so I'm more than happy with the team. There's nothing... literally, this was locked on Saturday, and I have not touched it. And it's been quite nice this week, not having to think about moves, because I've just been quite happy. So absolutely fine with this. I'm hoping... I mean, if I don't get a green arrow this week...
Oh, I'm sure you will. But no question marks over the captaincy. You're going Tony?
I was close to Matoma, but I think, to be honest, it was one of those things where I've been thinking about things far too much in the last couple of weeks, and I need to go back to my simple, look, it makes sense. Tony's on penalties. He's playing Everton and Southampton, who've been dreadful this year. Just captain the player that's got double pens, 2 easy teams. So, yeah, I was close with Matoma, but no, I think Tony's going to be the one for me.
It's a bit closer for me. I think I am on Tony at the moment. I'll see how I feel in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, also the other thing, I mean, we haven't mentioned the weather. There's a lot of kind of scared tactics going on in the press, I think, tonight. I read stories in the Express and the Mirror and the Mail about Premier League could be hit by the weather. We will know in the morning. We'll know in the morning if there's a pitch inspection, and we'll know if there's snow overnight. Even though I'm probably going to lose like some money, I don't know if I'm going to make my transfers tonight. I might wait until the morning. Having said that, if Leeds and Brighton is off, I have got a bench that would be okay. So I'm torn really as to whether I think I end up losing 0-3 if the players go the way that certain tools have. So 0-3. Do I want to take that on the chin, or do I want to take? I don't know. Hey, you're cynical about the weather thing. You think it'd be fine, do you?
Yeah, I would have thought so. I'd be shocked if it was off, personally. Although, do you see my tweet this week with the the snow? You have to look that up. It's,
I saw with the walls down there.
Yeah,
the coach, very good.
It was the Buffalo Bills stadium. Like the amount of people that were like, "Oh no, I've just brought Brighton players in. I'll have to take them back out again."
That was it.
Bless them. But I mean, we'll bring your team up because yours is a bit more interesting than mine, because obviously mine's kind of set now. But so you're thinking what? You're obviously going to keep Salah. Is it Andreas for a Brighton mid? Is it?
It's going to be Ederson out for probably Steele, and then Andreas to McAllister to give me the 3 Brighton and Tony. So that'll be the 4, and then the captaincy will be Tony or McAllister. And then I'm banking on Salah, Trent, and Odegaard to basically help me get through this, not having the 6 doublers.
Yeah.
I've got to hope that Brentford and Brighton don't keep 4 clean sheets between them. If they do, then I'm going to be definitely down. I don't necessarily fear not having 2 Brighton mids, because I think it's very difficult to choose the right one, and it's a bit of a lot. I mean, I could have 2 and still miss out because the third one is the one that comes in. So I don't think anyone's going to have 3 Brighton midfielders. So I think I can forgive myself if I miss out on that, but not getting a Brentford defender, I'm kind of like, it would have to be another -4 though. And I'm on the I was doing it in midweek, but now I'm thinking I really want to play Trent, because if I get a Brentford defender for Ake and I bench Trent and Trent goes and gets a double figure at Bournemouth, which he easily could. I mean, 1 assist and a clean sheet and 3 bonus, and he's come in, hasn't he? So
he hauled last time against him as well, didn't he?
He did, and I do think Liverpool will get quite a few goals in that game. I think, and Bournemouth can keep them at bay, but I just think if they're confident, Liverpool, and they should be confident, they could get 3 or 4 goals. So plus they've kept 5 clean sheets in 6 as well.
Yeah, they're doing well clean sheets wise.
Yeah, so I've got to play Trent. I'm not going to do it.
Just look at you. Are you looking a little bit ropey for 29, or is it not too bad? Because you've got, obviously you're bringing in the 2 Brighton, which helps, doesn't it? But then you free hit and you'll only have 1 transfer to use in 29, won't you?
Yeah. So I'll have.
How's it looking?
With 1 free transfer, I should have 11 with my second keeper, a doubler as well. So I should have 12. I should have 12.
Yeah. And you're looking at bench boost in 34.
No, benching in 29. I'll be bench boosting with Haaland, Odegaard, and Saka, basically, and a double keeper. So I think, Arsenal at home to Leeds and Haaland at home to Liverpool. I'm happy with that bench boost. I mean, like every other week you'd be playing them players, so that's the point of the bench boost, isn't it? So, and my keeper should be a doubler unless Steele gets dropped. And then I think I'm going to keep the wild card until 33. I'll dead end into 32, so I can sell Haaland and sell Rashford for 32 because United and City will both miss. Yeah, I would have thought. So I can clear them 2 out for 32, dead end into 32, then wild card them back in 33.
Yeah.
and build for the 2 doubles that are 34 and 37. That's the plan. Yeah.
Because I'll be free hitting in 32 most likely, which is nice because it means I just don't have to worry about that week now. I can build for after that and always keep building towards those doubles and just not have to worry about 32. And I think that's the way to play it now. If my time is these next 3 or 4 weeks, these are when I need to be getting those green arrows, and then free hitting 32. I think that's fine.
The only advantage I've got is that I don't have to build well away from 34 and 37. I can wildcard and hope that gives me a bit more of an edge in terms of having more up-to-date info. But trouble is, 34 and 37, they're at the end of the season. Anything could be happening then. So even in the lineups, you could be Friday night, game week 34, and not be able to predict the lineup. So I don't know how much of an advantage that'll be. We'll have to see.
We'll see. You'll have an advantage. Things change so quickly. Like we said about Steele and Sanchez. Like, who knew that was going to happen? Like, and there'll be something that happens by then, or 2 or 3 things that mean you get a bit of an edge, which would be quite nice.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed. For you.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You won't be fingers crossed if I've closed that 92 gap, which sounds like a chasm. Who knows what it'll be in 3 or 4 weeks' time? We'll see.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Brennan
the drama.
like he does, mate.
I know. I'm confident in Brennan. I really am.
Anyway.
Very sharp.
Let's stop Mark talking for a bit and bring on some questions. So if you've got some questions for us, we've got 76 people in the chat. Thank you so much. One person did say the link wasn't working. So well done for everybody that's managed to find us. 77 people. You're obviously very determined to listen to 2 old chaps talking about football. Let us know any questions you've got. Obviously, like I said, chuck it in. This is your time. We're doing all right for time, actually. We've got a good 6-7 minutes to answer some questions for you. Before we do, let's have a quick look, see how the... Stoke are winning. What's going on?
Are they?
Awful, yeah. Right, Ben Allen says, would you start Kepa and Badiashile, or would you start Martinez and Mings this week?
So Chelsea at Leicester, and Villa are at... Who have Villa got? Villa are at West Ham. I would start Kepa, I think. Chelsea off the Champions League game, confident. Leicester, is Maddison fit?
Yes.
Never game to game. Right,
okay. Is,
right. Still think I think West Ham will score against Villa. Again, they're one of those teams that, like Everton, Southampton and Forest, who look at the home games and they've just got to score in those games. They've got to get something out of the home game. So I think I'd go with, and I know Leicester, you could say the same, but Chelsea are a stronger side than Villa, or should be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ian B, would you bench Darwin, Haaland or Saka this week?
You want to go first on that?
If you asked me which player did I think was going to score the least amount of points, it's probably Haaland.
Oh, I'd go Darwin, I think.
Would you? I was between Haaland and Saka. Problem is, the only thing with Darwin is he's not on PES, but he's got Bournemouth. He's got the plum fixture, so it's between the other two for me.
Yes. I guess if I was 200k in the world and feeling happy about my rank, I would bench Darwin. If I was 700 something in the world, like I am, and trying to catch up, I would bench Haaland. That's why I'd go. So it really depends on how much you've got to push.
My head straight away went for Haaland, which seems absolutely mental. I would bench any other player apart from those 3. Darwood says, who to start, Shaw or Trippier? Ooh. Tough one, that one this
Southampton or Trippier Shaw. I can't see Southampton scoring at Old Trafford. I just can't.
Shaw didn't play against Betis either. It was Malacia, wasn't it? So Shaw will definitely play.
I can see Wolves getting a goal. I can see Wolves scoring.
Oh, sorry. So you'd start Shaw. Sorry, I thought you meant you bench Shaw. Yeah, no, I'd be edging Shaw personally. Yeah. Good. Sorry, I thought you meant bench Shaw. That's why I was surprised. Yeah. Toz Div says, I've had my heart set on March captain. Should I switch to Matoma after the injury news? Is
that injury news what he said? That's the problem. I don't know. He said he's on the list, didn't he? That could mean all kinds of things. But, I don't know. I think there is a little bit of a nagging doubt because of the it's an away game and it's going to be tough, and the conditions aren't going to be great. So even if the game's on, it's going to be, like I said, a hard pitch. So there may be a little bit of a doubt. Would I move the captaincy? I probably would move it to Matoma. Yeah, I probably would, because of that 10% chance that March doesn't get both games. And also, if he has had an injury recently, he's most likely to be subbed, isn't he? Out of the right mid. So I probably would go to Matoma.
Yeah, I think I would. Ed, who would you bench out of Saka, March, Bruno, or Kane?
Was he benching March? I'm going to bench March, isn't he?
The benchings this week are mad, aren't they?
Saka, March, Bruno, or Kane? Oh my word! I don't know. I mean,
single game week it'd be March.
Yeah. All of those players could easily return, couldn't they?
I mean, the one without a double game week and the one without pens is Bruno.
Yeah, it probably would be Bruno. I mean, Spurs aren't in great shakes, are they? So, but I think they will win. And Kane is obviously the most likely to score. So I would bench Bruno. Yeah, that'd be awful. Oh my word! I mean, I know people are bringing him in this week. So
yeah. Adam6, this is interesting because I've answered this question on my on Twitter today. Sanchez to steal, or should I just play Kepa and wait and see?
Is it a free transfer?
I believe so. See if you answer the same as I did on my timeline.
Well, I don't know if he's free hitting in 28. He's got Kepa, isn't he, for 28, so he's all right there. 29, he gets the double if Steele holds his place. I'll do it, because Steele's going to start these two, I think. So I'd do it, yeah.
I said I'd do it as well. Wilderness Kid says, looking ahead to 28, Haaland non-playing. So do I move Haaland to Wilson, Daka, Ings, Watkins? So do I move him to one of those four? Wilson, Daka, Ings, and Watkins.
Well, Watkins is the favoured player there, isn't he? Because like I wouldn't be moving to Wilson even with an hour to go to kickoff, because he can get injured at any moment. Yeah. And Ings, he's shown some form, but he's not reliable, is he? I mean, Watkins he hasn't. Was Brennan Johnson not in the list?
No, for some reason. No idea.
I'd go Watkins of that list. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Watkins is the way I'm going. The only other two players, and they actually both play for the same team, that I was tempted to go for was Felix or Havertz. Havertz on pens now. He has looked very good the last couple of games, by the way, Havertz. Better than Felix, I would say. So I think you have to consider them. I would consider them way more than Ings, Daka and Wilson, personally. Yeah. But Watkins is still the one I'm going for at the moment. On pens as well.
Is he? Is Watkins on pens?
He is. He took one the other day, didn't he?
Oh, okay.
He took one the other day, didn't he? Or did I make that up? I swear he did.
Oh, okay.
They'll tell me in the chat. They'll tell me if I'm wrong there. FPL Wellbeing, wildcarding next week. Currently no Brighton or Brentford defenders. One free transfer. Which would you prioritise? So if you wanted to get one Brighton or Brentford defender in, who would you get?
Stupid. Definitely. Because you don't need to worry about 28 if you're wildcarding. So you go Brighton. And if you're going to go a Brighton defender, that's the one, isn't it? Like
If I went there, and I completely agree. If you are worried about the fact he's going to Australia and back in the international break, then obviously Dunk is a lot safer. But the upside just isn't there with Dunk anymore, I don't think.
No, and it's an unknown. That have we got past history where Stupinan hasn't played off the back of a international?
I don't know, if I'm honest.
No,
it's quite a long way to go. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's probably the longest way to go, isn't it? Shame that. I'd still go him though. I think I'd still go.
B-Mac, I'd be edging Shaw. All right, Andy. Yeah, love me a United player. FPL 3P. Gabriel or Trippier? Who would you start?
Gabriel or Trippier? Who would I start? I'd start Trippier.
We agree too much, Mark. I don't like it. Jeremy Linter, FPL jogger. Hello, mate. He's from down my way. Who's going to win at golf? Me, Andy, or Greyhead? We might be having a little bit of a golf FPL session down in the southwest. So
Okay,
who do you think would win?
Greyhead, and whose question is this?
This is from FPL Jogger. So FPL
Oh,
Jogger
is it
saying
golf,
who's going to
is
win,
it?
him, me, or Greyhead?
Well, I'm going to go Jogger, aren't I? No, because like Greyhead's got me bottom of the league. The other one's you, and so I can't go you, can I? So
Terrible.
actually, Greyhead
Terrible.
got me bottom of the league. He's I'm second from bottom now. So,
I've
but
never
yeah,
been hurt more.
Greyhead will let me off. Well, I don't know what your golf is like, Andy. I don't know. Are you you've never mentioned it before, so
You never will now.
Jogger's an unknown quantity. So he obviously fancies himself if he's asking the question, doesn't he? Do you know anything about? Do you know his handicapped or anything? You reckon he's got?
Jogger, no, I don't know. Obviously, I know mine. I don't have a clue about Greyheads.
Are you handy? Are you?
I've got a handicap. Yeah,
Have you? Okay.
I am the handicap, but no, I haven't played for a year since the second kid was born. But I used to play off 10, so I wasn't too bad.
Okay. Can I revise my?
No, you can't. No, you put it on now.
You're hurt now, aren't you?
I am more hurt than after my wildcard 26 actually. Right, FPL Rover says, would you do Edison to Raya for a hit this week, or alternatively, would you do Ward to Raya for a hit and bench boost with Edison, Haaland, Gabriel, Tarkowski? Whoa. So would you do Edison to Raya, or would you do Ward to Raya and then bench boost?
It depends what he's got in 28. What's his second keeper? Because if he needs Raya for 28, then it's obviously a wise move.
Yeah.
Ward plays in 28, does he?
Well, Edison doesn't play, but Ward does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Edison to Raya for a hit is going to come in because it's 2 games versus 5, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
So plus Edison, even when he plays, has been absolutely dreadful. So I think the hit is warranted, and I would go Raya. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd go Raya, and then I'd look to bench boost in 29 because Raya and Ward both double in 29 as well, don't they?
Yeah.
That looks nice.
Yeah.
Lovely
Agree again.
stuff.
Look at this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
45 minutes of agreeing with each other.
This is what people want to see. This is what they pay their good money for. Right, we'll finish there. We had I think we peaked about 80 people, which is pretty good for a members only stream on a Friday night. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Mark, I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did, and I wish you much better luck for game week 27 than you got in 26. That's all I can say.
I'm due some. Thank you very much, everybody in the chat. We hope your arrows are green. Obviously, remember the deadline is tomorrow morning, and we will see you next week. Cheers. Thank you very much.